everybody. Thanks to you guys that are sticking around from the kick-off panel. I hope you guys that were there had a great time with that one.
Dude, that was a fantastic time.
So I'm joined today by Greg and Jonathan, who were in the audience just now.
Hi.
Howdy guys.
So I'll introduce myself first real quick. I'm Jacob Lyngle. I run KaijuUnited.com, the Kaiju United Facebook group. I've been going to these conventions for too long now, and I like to call myself an old grizzled veteran of these cons, even though I'm like 25.
Yeah, you've been going to conventions since
2012.
2012,
So
yeah.
It's been a decade of just going to Godzilla cons and meeting all these people like David and Mike right there, good people. But yeah, why don't you guys introduce yourselves, and we'll cover some bad guys and throw the floor out to you guys.
What are we gonna rock, paper, scissors this, or are we gonna?
Go down in order actually.
You want to go in order? Okay.
Okay, so howdy guys. Greg here. I've been a con goer since my first G Fest here at this hotel back in 2017 through 2019, and even last. All right, try again. So howdy guys. Greg here, a veteran of the Giant Monster Con circuit, starting at G Fest here back in 2017 through 2019, even last year's con. But this is my first AMA. And we're gonna have a great time here. And as for anything else myself, I stream on Twitch under Kaiju Fanboy and all that, and also Paleo Podcast under Pretty Straight Traveler's Guide. So giant monsters, dinosaurs, and even a slight dash of cryptozoology, paranormal, all that good jazz. So I'll leave the floor to you now, Jeff.
Yeah, sure, of course. Hi everybody. My name is Johnny Hernandez. I have been going to conventions since 2012 as well. Actually, no, 2011. Because my first convention was G-Fest 2011. That was a great time. So it's been over a decade at least. This is my first AMA as well. I'm actually recording all the panels this weekend. That's the reason why you see that nice fancy camera right there. I was approached by a lot of the heads to record the panels just to put it out online, so if people who aren't here with us can still view the panels online after the convention is over. And I'm here to have a great weekend, so I hope you guys are all doing the same. And I got a question. Is this anybody's first time for AMA?
Got a couple of hands out there. That's great.
Same here too. Yeah, this is the first time. Awesome. So, yeah, we're here to have a great time. We're here to do Rogues Gallery, and well, let's get this session going here in just a second.
I'll start off. I'm just gonna grab the door real quick.
Yes.
We'll do real time.
Yep.
So my favorite bad guy is Monster X.
Yeah, pull the door.
You didn't close the door, Lyngle.
And what I
What are you
really
doing?
like about Monster X.
Jeez, man, what are you doing?
Monster X was just cool looking. I always bring him up. I was doing this panel at FanX Salt Lake City last year, year before, and there was quite a lot of people sharing their love for Godzilla bad guys, and there was a little 5-year-old kid in the audience right there, and his favorite was Biollante because he had just seen Godzilla vs. Biollante for the first time.
Film, honestly. It's a great film.
So I looked at him and I was like, if you want to know what I thought was cool when I was your age, I showed him that.
Well, I mean, man, trying to think about one of Godzilla's greatest enemies. This is a bit of an obscure enemy, but really not talked much, or not really noticed. The giant condor. For some reason, nobody talks about this freaking giant bird just flapping its wings and just pecking the absolutely heck out of Godzilla.
You guys like the giant condor?
Well, was he really a bad guy?
That's true.
He's
That's
just
true.
misunderstood, Jonathan. He's just a bird.
He's just a bird.
Just
Bird
a-
flapping his
Protect
wings.
his territory.
Just a big bird.
Like all seriousness though, realistically, I think a great opponent or just foe that Godzilla had also was really Anguirus from Godzilla Raids Again, just because that's the second film and as well as the first appearance of Anguirus in the movie, which was such a classic fight. It's just it's still a dark film for its time, but we got more of like what we were expecting for time, to go on with all these films through the Showa, Millennial, and the Reiwa.
I like it. Craig, what's your favorite bad guy from Kaiju Media? And this doesn't have to be Godzilla. When we open the floor out for you guys and you guys start sharing your bad guys, because this is an interactive panel for those that didn't know. It doesn't have to be Godzilla. Like, could be Zeton from Ultraman or the giant claw from the movie The Same Name. So anyways, Greg.
Now, that's a very good question. Now, if I'm going by the eras of Godzilla here, from the Showa era, easily the three-headed Hydra Ghidorah.
Yes.
Easily.
Yeah.
I mean, up to that point, up to the release of Ghidorah Theory Monster, Godzilla had never faced a space monster of any sort whatsoever. Everything had just been either mutation or something just living on Earth naturally. But Ghidorah represented the first genuinely evil antagonist Godzilla's ever faced and all that. And the fact it took Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra joining forces to defeat the Hydra. And then this trend carrying over throughout the rest of the era here, just cemented Ghidorah's place as the Joker to Godzilla's Batman and all that. And as for other villains that fit other analogies.
Speaking of Monster Zero.
That's okay.
Continuing with the trend of theming villains in this case here. So if Ghidorah's Joker to Godzilla, then going to the Heisei era, then we have the Venom and Space Godzilla to fit that kind of doppelganger aspect of things here. And then you had to pick the penultimate bad guy for Godzilla in the Heisei era. You would have the Doomsday Analog, which would be Destroyer.
Yeah, it's good. It's also, Godzilla vs. Destroy is one of my favorite films, and Destroy is probably had to been one of his toughest foes, just because he was at maximum power that you would not expect for Godzilla, and Destroyer was still beating the living crap out of him. It's just, that was an absolute ball of a movie and very emotional too. But yeah, anyways, you want to continue on with this?
Let's open the floor up.
Cool.
I got the mic if anyone wants to have fun, talk about their favorite villain. I see there's a Killer Zeton cosplay on the left. Sorry to point you out in public.
Is that working?
Yeah. You sound good.
Okay. Well, I've got three. Probably the bottom tier would be Death Ghidorah, because I love the design. And Space Godzilla because he's the doppelganger. But you really can't beat Iris. She is everything that Gamera is not, and she is deadly. Just the fact that whereas Gamera has the connection with children, she has a connection with the child also, but the child hates Gamera. And she's terrifying. And I think that Godzilla would have a hard time with Iris.
I like that.
That's honestly something I would have never thought about. A foe like Iris to take on Godzilla, but it would be a very deadly battle indeed, just because of how powerful Iris is. Really thinking about it. I haven't seen Gamera 3 in a while, so what abilities Iris has. It's been a bit. It's been a while.
Spiky tentacles.
Spiky tentacles.
She draws her power out.
Yep, I do remember that. Yes.
Was that all three of them, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ghidorah, Iris,
Space Godzilla.
Space
Space
Godzilla.
Godzilla.
What do you like about Space Godzilla?
The creature design is awesome. And then there's a cartoon out on YouTube right now where someone is taking all the Godzilla characters. I can't remember the name of the site, but they're all on islands and in bars. Yeah, and they have one where Death Godzilla is Godzilla Jr.'s uncle, and he's he drinks beer and he's got a cigar and he's always lounging about. He's he's just a complete scumbag. I love that personality that they gave him, because he's just and it was that works on so many levels for Space Godzilla. Literally nothing noble about him. He lives in beer cans and watches porn and stuff.
That's great.
Okay, so I was about to say, yeah, that sounds like a guy I'd like until that last sentence.
Sounds like someone you like to have as a drinking buddy.
Oh, no.
Kaiju porn.
No, sorry, we're not it's not that kind of bad. We're talking about just bad guys we like, not bad guys we don't like. I like Zebra. I'll throw out Zebra. I just like that he has a really funny voice in the dub.
Let's conquer.
Let's conquer them.
And I will say I love the soundtrack to the Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. It's probably my favorite soundtrack. It evokes like the anime of the time rather than your traditional Godzilla sound.
I don't really watch anime, so these guys might have to fill me in on that.
What are you talking about? But just trying to think of other kind of foes. That aren't part of Godzilla. Honestly, if you guys do watch anime, My Hero Academia, All for One is a great foe. You know, he uses uses all the powers that he took from other heroes, and I'm still catching up on My Hero Academia, but All for One is still a great foe from the series, and there's another anime series, One Piece as well. I'm trying to catch up on One Piece because it's now at
Good luck on that.
1,043 episodes now. So, and there's another foe from it, Blackbeard. Blackbeard uses the dark fruit power, and what he does is he uses the dark power to consume everything and anything that touches it. And that's a great power, but you know, with Luffy has the Gum devil fruit power, so he can turn his body into rubber and stretch himself to a different distance. But he's not a foe. I'm just kind of giving some people insight about it.
Wasn't there like a Godzilla kind of guy in My Hero Academia?
Yes,
It was
yes.
Godzilla or something like that.
Godzilla. Yes,
Or like
Godzilla. Oh my
Or
god.
like an Elvis costume. And
Yes,
he showed up
yes.
for like 5 seconds and then just like pieced out.
That was from, I forgot which film that was. I think it was Two Heroes. I believe that was from Two Heroes that Godzilla was appeared in that just for Toho to go and show off their trademark basically.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
The character's a corporate sellout, I think.
Exactly, yeah. And I just knew what was going on there. I was like, okay, I see what you guys
That's
are
a
doing.
bad guy right there.
Do you have any foes that you can think of, like from any series? You know, it doesn't have to be
Just like Kaiju
just
Toku.
Kaiju Toku or anything.
Like Batman from Kamen Rider. Spider-Man from Kamen Rider.
Well, I'm actually thinking about another Gamera villain of renown from the Heisei era that is on my favorite list. I'm actually going to go with a curveball here and go with Legion actually for Gamera 2. Advent of Legion actually.
Yes.
There's a lot of symbolism involved with this particular space kaiju here, and there's also a lot of homage to aliens here, with there being a Queen Legion, a swarm of soldier Legion, and all that. I mean, the very name Legion is in the Bible actually too, and they even explicitly reference the verse in question in the film here, so that adds another layer of symbolism and metaphor to this particular kaiju. And Legion just is another one of those like doomsday type threats that Gamera could not beat on his own. About the JSDF, the eliminating her swarm, and then he had to draw on the power of the Earth itself to kill the monster. And that even had ramifications going into Gamera 3, with the mana having messed up Earth's, life force and all that, and that allowed for the Gauss to reemerge, of course.
That's right.
So that poses a question, and I'm gonna ask you guys this because it's an audience panel. Villains, do you guys like villains that are just fun? Like, they're just bad to be bad? Or do you guys
We got
like,
one over there.
Yeah, you like that? Or do you guys like the bad guys that drive the story, are very compelling, mean something?
Why not both?
Why not both?
Gigan is bad to be bad. There's no redeeming qualities.
We're just passing the mic around, so if you want to say something, you guys go for it. You can come
Feel free to
up.
come on up, yeah.
David's got it. It's at the green tape. I wish I had a stand, but I just have 4 microphones, sadly.
Sorry, I just wanted to say about the Destroya reference that we talked about in the beginning. You're talking about like comparing it. I mean, it's a 1995 film, and Destroya ends up having baby Destroyas in that one building that gets blown up. I mean, I kind of want to think that 98 Zilla is going to copy that in some ways. I think we kind of forget that. I think they make it like a Jurassic Park ripoff in comparison, but I feel like Destroya kind of did that first, and then at the end there's a similar somberness, for the credit we give 98 Zilla, that Destroya has as well with Godzilla. I think that's like a comparison we kind of forget about.
What specifically do you enjoy about the monster Destroya, for like as a villain?
I think it's really cool for Destroya to have like the wings and then just like, what is it, like 4 legs as well, which is a very unique design. And again, it looks just like the giant Destroya as well, when it has its little babies in the, I believe it's a giant building as well that they discovered.
If I recall correctly, I believe those were, because towards the middle, or towards halfway through the film, they become the aggregate Destroyer, and then they convert into Flying Destroyer, and then, convert back, but then they finally become Final Form Destroyer. With the babies, like, I know, like, the babies, they are all the little crabs, little parasites, and then when they form an aggregate Destroyer, it's this big old crab thing, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, look at that thing. It's got big old tentacles and spiky boys and all the good stuff.
I mean, we could shout out Hedera too for being the OG of the trend of transforming kaiju, going
All
into
like pollution.
like no, just like lamp form, flying form, Megazord form,
Oh,
stuff like that.
I will say though, my favorite kaiju villain, I guess you consider that, is definitely Ebra from Horror of the Deep. Not only is that my favorite Godzilla movie, but I just think as a villain it's really lax and fun as a movie, but as the villain it's threatening, but also it's a giant crab or lobster, and it has a really cool theme song with they're playing beach volleyball with a rock. I think when you think like Godzilla, do you want a serious Godzilla, you gotta move on to the 80s, obviously, and the Millennium series, but if you want like a really cool, it's kind of like Batman, right? Where you have like the different iterations of like Joker and these rogues characters in like the 60s and the 70s, and then they get serious in like the 90s. I think that's really interesting how Godzilla kind of...
And that was the exact comparison I made when I first did this Rogues panel at Salt Lake, is I think Godzilla has a Rogues gallery just as good as Spider-Man and Batman, but nobody really talks about that.
He crosses that line of like doing good, but also like how far is he going to be good? Because he's also crushing buildings and being the bad guy in his own movies sometimes. Alright, thanks guys.
thank you.
Yeah, feel free to jump in multiple times too. This is all about you guys.
Yeah,
I
it's all
want
about
to hear you guys' favorite bad guys.
Yeah.
Hello, I just wanted to list a couple of favorite kaiju I have.
Sweet, let's do
Discuss
it.
them. They're both fish kaiju actually. And one's from Godzilla, one's from Ultraman. The Godzilla one is Titanosaurus. He's not necessarily a bad guy, he just got controlled. But I find it very tragic and I really appreciate that,
Not all villains are truly evil.
And then my favorite Ultra Kaiju is Marucci from Return of Ultraman. Another tragic one. I don't know if you've seen that particular episode he's in, but basically he's the kaiju of alien that is dying. He just came to do research and he got wrongfully killed. And he's released once the alien is killed and he tears apart the town that killed him. And I think it's a really... And there's a boy who gets affected by the death of that alien too, because he was like his grandfather figure, sort of. And it's a very sad episode, and it really hit hard when Marucci came out, and his roars even sound like cries, so.
Man, I'm gonna have to check out Return of Ultraman. I know there's a lot of shows that come in and out, from what a lot of friends, family, tell me, and man, but that's a sad one. Just the fact that, you explain all that, it's crazy. It definitely is.
Yes, and if you'd like to check it out, it's called The Monster Tamer and the Boy.
Okay.
It's episode 33, I believe. It's a very sad one. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Cole, and I'm just Zeton, obviously. So I guess I talk about Zeton a little bit first. Well, in Ultraman, the original 66 one, so spoilers for sure, it's over 50 years old, but a lot of the monsters in that show range from incredibly goofy to like actually kind of sad. Like if you've seen the episode My Home is Earth with Jamala, it's very, very sad. It's one of the saddest episodes of the entire series. Or like Alien Bolton, it's a little bit sad because, you know, Ultraman genocided this entire species. But with Zeton, you finally like, there's other kaiju in that series that gave Ultraman a good fight. Like, Gamora took 2 parts to take down. Some other aliens managed to, like, at least pin him. But Zeton, you know, it must have been shocking in 1966 for this very menacing alien robot bug thing to just show up and then just completely body Ultraman and kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is, because I've only been an Ultraman fan for about 2 years, but seeing that was huge difference from the rest of the series in terms of tone. And it's kind of funny that the Science Patrol instantly one-shots Zeton like 5 minutes after his appearance. It kills Ultraman, but and it's cool that it's become such an icon in Japan. Like there's at least 15 different variants of Zeton that have appeared over the years, even if he's kind of become a jobber in the new generation shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Zeton, but in terms of like newer Ultraman, if you've seen like the 2009 stuff on Ultraman Belial. It's a very cool villain because we've had like evil Ultraman up to this point, like Dark Zagi, Evil Tika, the Alien Zera in the first series when he was the Imitation Ultraman. But Belial was the first time where we kind of saw an Ultra who was like not in line with the philosophy of the Land of Light, where he wasn't a good guy, he wasn't selfless, he wanted power for himself, he wanted to steal his rival's girlfriend. He's just such a ridiculous and fun character. But he's just so evil, like, he's just so cool.
I mean, he's so handsome.
He is incredibly handsome, I will give you that.
Honestly, I think when I love Belial too as, you know, as a foe, because I'm trying to remember when I was introduced to Belial. It must have been Zero, the second film, no, the first one, because I watched the first one before the second one.
Mega Monster Battle.
Yes, thank
Galaxy
you,
Legends,
thank you.
The movie.
That one was such a great film, and then going up into 2, like Belial turning to Art Belial, like, oh god, that was intense, like consuming all that power. That was a great one. But yeah, Belial is an amazing foe and character, you know, from the series entirely. I do agree with that. Yes.
Yeah,
He's a quite a jobber now.
not quite. X, Nebius, a couple other ones. Zeton is still a threat. Space Spirit, even Zet.
Even Zeton and like Shin Ultraman's pretty
Shin
Yes.
Zeton is awesome. Very cool interpretation.
Yes, it was. Very cool.
And I didn't mention Alien Bolton again too, because I think it's the first Seijin in the series. He's the first alien to appear rather than Bemular, who was just a kaiju.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a sad alien. It's like their home world was destroyed, depends on the series you're watching, by a mad scientist or nuclear war. And they're just looking for home, but at the same time they're also this warlike species that's trying to dominate humanity. So it's kind of hard to like feel bad for them, but also they're kind of bastards. So.
I just like Bolton's laugh.
Oh yeah, borrowed from Matango, yeah.
There's a
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Hey, who's this guy?
So, how do you guys feel about kaiju starting off as bad but they go to good? So we'll take King Ghidorah, for example, who's notorious for being bad, and then jumps being a one-time good hero in GMK.
I think a one-time role reversal is cool for GMK because you're just like, oh, this is different. I think it would be cool if they had something that was like following a continuity, like the Heisei era.
So I love the movie, but I wasn't a fan of the face turn for King Ghidorah because, you know, for so many years being a heel, you know, I didn't buy it.
Do you guys know what Mike's saying when he's saying face and heel?
Sorry,
he's talking wrestling, which I understand completely.
Good
But
guy, bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, face is baby face, heel
I mean,
is.
Godzilla's done it for, almost 7 years, bad, good,
Yep.
can't really make up his mind, but.
That, I
What do
mean,
you think?
like that film was a different turn, yeah, for especially Ghidorah, because Ghidorah was portrayed as a hero, a guardian over Earth for, I think it was 1,000 years. I mean, it could be
It's like the 1,000-year dragon.
yeah, the 1,000-year dragon, and I was like, what the? This isn't Ghidorah. Ghidorah's destroying cities, for Christ's sake. And when he finally emerges from his sleep, he's not destroying anything. He's just trying to fend off the city from Godzilla. I was pretty thrown off by that entirely. Not in a bad way, but I was just like, whoa, just surprised. Yeah, that was my take at it. But what do you think about that, Greg?
We're talking about kind of villains that start off bad and have good turns. Mechagodzilla surprisingly actually fits this trope as well, actually. When first built by the
That's
space
right.
apes in the 70s, he was an agent of destruction. And then when the first human-built Mechagodzilla appears in the 90s, he's actually built as a protector against Godzilla. And this repeated again in 2002, but here's a twist here. That Mechagodzilla Q is a cyborg, built around the bones of the original 54 Godzilla, and it contains the spirit of this Godzilla. And certain stimuli can trigger that original Godzilla to take control of the cyborg Godzilla, go berserk and actually turn against its creators, turn against humanity.
Yeah, it's like he's already turned face once, so they gotta make it interesting, right? The next time they make Roman Reigns a face, they gotta do something different.
Then in Godzilla vs. Kong, Mechagodzilla is clearly the bad guy again.
Yup. Just, connected to the bone, the remains of.
Kind of like the Kiryu twist.
Yes.
That's not
exactly.
Godzilla, it's King Ghidorah.
Yup.
Right. I kind of want to segue a little bit into human bad guys because I like the mobsters.
Wait a minute. He's
Mike,
got one.
was Mike done?
I'm good.
I got one more before you go
No,
into
you
the
don't.
human stuff.
Do it.
Hopefully I won't get crucified for saying good things about these movies, but my personal favorite version of going back to King Ghidorah is the one from the Polygon trilogy.
Oh, I forgot about that.
The first scene where he comes up when the exit for the aliens, right?
Yep.
When they're kind of summoning him, and the shadow of Ghidorah on the floor is like passing through everyone else's shadow, and they just like drop dead.
That was cool.
Terrifying. That stuff is terrifying.
I think the idea of like a Lovecraftian approach to King Ghidorah is rad.
That approach from that entire series was completely different from what I would have expected for, a big bad guy. Well, technically, two, because I forgot what species they were, but the ones that were the original species that assisted with creating Mechagodzilla.
The Billu Salado.
Yes, thank you. That was insane and totally cool because the nanobots end up taking over the species and try taking over everyone else who were still alive and returning back to Earth during that time. And Ghidorah as well. That was just cool. But going to the human villains.
You guys have any favorite human villains before I go?
I gotta think about this one.
What about you, Greg?
If I had to pick just one, legit good human tanks from the classic era Godzilla, I think this one's gonna be a pretty obvious hands-on fan's favorite. Dr. Mifune from Terra Mechagodzilla.
I actually haven't seen Terror Mechagodzilla in like 7 years. Maybe I should watch that when I'm done with this panel.
Now I can think about a bad guy.
I got a couple. So my favorite Godzilla film is probably Godzilla vs. Gigan.
Yes.
Those cockroach fellers. Not only do they have the coolest drip in the Godzilla series, with those orange suits and ties. I like his James Bond villain chair that he has in his office, where he spins around. It's not a swivel chair, but it's I don't know, robotic. It's almost Star Trek-y. And the first time we see him, and I forgot his name, he's just the nebulous Space Hunter guy to me. he's like spinning around in the chair and he's just sitting completely still. Like that. And then just the reveal that they're just like shape-shifting cockroaches is the funniest thing in the world.
Dude, I was just not expecting. Yeah, when I first saw that shape-shifting cockroaches, I was like, what? In God's name is that? That's a big boy. Just completely turned.
Gotta shout out the Seatopians.
Yeah, Seatopians are pretty.
They're
pretty
Greek
cool.
togas, I think. And the cool crown on the main guy of Seatopia's head. What a bizarre way to go about that.
I think a villain that's just like one person was a Ceridian agent.
Oh my goodness. Me!
You! Oh my god. And I forgot who it was that I was getting in discussion with. I don't know if it was you or someone. But someone
found him.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
someone
it was.
found him this
Yes.
week and did an interview with him. I can send you guys some links if you need to. But they found him again and just kind of gave him a brief interview because they were like, dude, where have you been?
Where'd you go, man?
And he actually was like, yeah, I did Godzilla vs. Biollante when I was 19.
And I for some reason, I anticipated him being way older, like at least being early 30s, late 20s at least, because he did not look like he was 19 during that film. Like, that completely shocked me.
You guys think
That's
he was
such a shock to
19?
me too, that terrorist was not as old as I thought he was actually.
Like, he was just, man, just portraying, like,
Those are definitely bad guys. Terrorists.
definitely bad.
It's the facial hair.
Oh, go ahead.
You really can't take anything away from the aliens in Final Wars because
Yes.
they eat the scenery in a kaiju film, which is, I'm not sure how that works, but
Man, just the fact that they're able to, please correct me, but take on the forms of the humans, or I don't know how they do it, but they just take on the human form of whoever they take from from Earth and such. That was such a cool way of portraying the Exilians. They were the Exilians, correct?
Yes.
Yes, the Exilians.
They screwed up when they didn't take over Don Fry.
You're gonna take over Don Fry, dude? Don the Predator Fry?
Man, he'll punch someone square in the face and say, "Hey, man, you're definitely screwing with the wrong guy here."
And listen, you want to talk about drip for Godzilla villains? Enough said.
Exactly, trench coats.
I do love me some bad guys in trench coats. But X specifically with the collar popped up, that's the good stuff.
That is good stuff.
I got one from, have you guys seen Dogora from Toho?
It's been a while since I've
Dogora, for those of you that haven't seen Dogora, there's I think it's like a mafia, like Yakuza guys that are trafficking diamonds, and this giant jellyfish monster from the sky just starts sucking all the diamonds and cola. And you got these like traditional mobsters that you would find in any Godzilla movie, just with the fedoras and stuff. They're just so much fun because they're like, "Hey, who's been stealing my diamonds?" Go ahead.
This is a film I haven't seen yet, so hopefully discussion with you guys.
Oh, it's been a while since I've seen Dogora.
This Namakawa started out bad as a spy, but then by the end
And
he
she
turned
turned the
good.
face.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the amusement park owner, the venture capitalist in Godzilla vs. Mothra. Definitely always thought he was a human bad guy, straight from the get-go there.
Didn't he have good drip? He had some drip too, didn't he?
He did. He was very stylish, and he was very cutthroat. I love that there was a Godzilla take on, like, not just like nature, defending it, but like the horrors of like capitalism in it too. And Godzilla's like the bad guy on that, so I was like also confused as a root for the guy, but.
It's like nobody's good in that movie except for like Mothra.
Yeah, and then it's like there is the business hires like hitmen to kill the heroes, and then it's on a cliff, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, these guys are like going well beyond their business.
And the bad guys in the early Showa films get their due. Like they just like get crushed in a rock slide.
Yes.
Crushed by Godzilla and stuff.
And I will say though, in terms of human bad guys, I think Jun Fukuda like just kills it with like his stories of like the humans in his iterations of Godzilla movies. Just like you get really cool like kaijus, but like the humans are like the story elements there are a lot more interesting than I think like the show is. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. I just always gotta shout out Jun Fukuda whenever we talk about Godzilla.
Thank you.
I have a couple of human villains to list from Godzilla.
Let's do it.
Katagiri from Godzilla 2000, great villain.
Yeah, yes.
It was interesting to see he really wanted to just kill Godzilla outright, and Shinoda, the protagonist, is no, we must study him. His regeneration is very important. And then towards the end, closer to the end of the movie, Shinoda's stuck in the building, and Katagiri knows this. He doesn't care. Blows up the building anyways. Trying to destroy the UFO. That was I love that. And then you got Nelson from the original Mothra. Mustache twirling kind of villain. Just classic.
Oh, I do remember him.
Again,
Right.
It's been a while since I've seen Mothra, but I remember him. I do.
it's like that classic villain archetype. They got the drip, they got the mustache, they twirl it, and they cackle. That's the best villain in my opinion. They're just fun to be bad.
Exactly. And it's been a while since I've seen Mothra, but I do recall the ruthless, businessman in that film. Very Lex Luthor type, antagonist and all that. That'd be a reoccurring trend throughout,
And
Total
just
films and such.
as well as just trying to, make a fortune off of the Mothra twins too. Yes, like that was also another thing I remember about him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So not Godzilla villains, but Ultraman villains.
Yes.
In '96 we had evil Ultraman Tiga, we had evil Tiga, straightforward that way. So there was this scientist who was jealous of the hero who could turn into Ultraman. He discovered a petrified giant in his pet monster underground. So he stole the spark lamps that the hero uses to transform, and he jury rigs it so that he can merge with this ancient hero. And he loses himself and just becomes this giant human-shaped monster that goes on a rampage. The monster pet wakes up and it's sobbing and attacking its master to make him stand down. He just kills it. So then Chigo, Ultraman, is righteously angry and has to defeat him and kill him. And it was the villain himself is pretty straightforward, but it's a very impactful episode. I have one more, and it's not villain, but villains. In a way, the Marucci episode that was brought up earlier, where in The Return of Ultraman, these villagers are just scared of this mysterious man, and they find out he's an alien, and they form a mob because, Ultraman kills aliens are the bad guys. They don't understand that he's taking care of this kid who lost his parents. And the guy has to stand between the mob and the kid and say, this boy's done nothing wrong, kill him. And kill the alien. And then the monster that he was suppressing wakes up and goes on a rampage, and the hero Hideki Go watches all this happen, and that's the monster's rampage, and the people are running, and he just stands there and doesn't do anything. He has to get told. His captain, who supposedly doesn't know that he's Ultraman, says, don't you got somewhere to be? So just kind of this interesting episode where it's if there's a human bad guy, they're like a thief, or they're a coward, they run or they put people in danger to save themselves. But here it's higher group of people. Ultraman himself has to kind of get kicked in the pants to go and help, because at the end of the day that's what you're supposed to do, even if they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
So kind of two somber occurrences.
A lot of somberness in the Ultra series. I tend to notice. I haven't seen a lot of Ultra. The '90s are a complete blank for me. I've seen the first. I've seen Ultra Q, Ultraman, Ultra 7, and then I kind of jumped to the new generation. Probably not the best move, but
That's a big jump.
I know. I just love Ultraman Zero a lot.
Yeah, Zero was a good one.
They're
He's a
completely different franchises.
he's a good guy, but he's such a despicable, cocky dude. Like, I guess he could be a bad dude, but he's just so much fun. I like the black hole aliens from Mechagodzilla, since we're going with Jin Fukuda stuff, like that guy mentioned. I love his dub voice more than anything, because he's like, Mechagodzilla, kill Godzilla. It's fantastic.
This one's just like, he's kind of a villain, but he doesn't really, I guess, do anything inherently evil, but Mr. Taco from the original.
He's a villain.
God.
You know what? Mr. Taco's
Mr.
got the
Taco.
best rig.
Mr. Taco is someone I'm glad that you brought up, David, because the fact that Mr. Taco, I just love him as a character, but he's also a huge antagonist for King Kong versus Godzilla. Is just absolutely beautiful because he's this wacky,
Very bumbling
businessman. You know, he's trying to make a fortune for his company, and he's like, "Oh, wait a minute! There's a king. There's a big monkey in an island or something." And you know, he just goes and
What a fantastic Mr. Taco.
yeah.
That's exactly how he sounded in the dub.
Did you do the dub for King Kong vs.
You know,
Godzilla?
it's very possible I did do the dub. That's very possible. I think I did. I just don't recall. But yeah, just the fact that Mr. Taco was just, something like someone that I was not expecting to be, a villain, but he was, because he instigated on bringing Kong back to the mainlands to, like I said, bring up a fortune for his company, but instead started a rivalry between Godzilla and King Kong. And, he just really just cares about the money, he's a businessman, and and not as bad as he is, but as clumsy and funny as he can be, he's a rememberable villain for, back in the Showa films. Yeah, I do agree. I just love Mr. Taco. For some reason, I love his energy.
And the drip.
And the drip, too.
Were there any, villainous human characters in the Heisei films, besides the Seradian agent?
I'm trying to think who would be...
I can't remember the name of him, but the guy in Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla who kidnaps Nikki, and it's been a while since I've seen the film, but he's
yes,
he's trying to mess with her for telekinesis or whatever.
Yep. Yeah, he actually, I do remember him, because at the very beginning of the movie, when Baby Godzilla, is running around the beach and such, and I do remember that now. There was him.
I can't remember what the heck he was trying to do in the movie.
No, I don't remember. All I remember was that they were studying Baby Godzilla, if I recall.
He was trying to use the little implants so they could...
Yes, yeah. Thank you. And I gotta come back to that movie.
I would say Little Godzilla is kind of terrifying. He might be a villain to me.
You take that back.
I mean, I guess he lacks the drip, so he can't really be a bad guy. Because so far we've discussed all these villains have drip. So
They're just fashion.
I don't know what it is about bad guys and fashion, but even in, we'll go unrelated a little bit just because we have a little bit of time left. We got 10 minutes. Even just bad guys in movies. If you watch old The Wire films, the bad guys always have the coolest trench coat, the coolest hat, the coolest gun.
They're just flexing on everybody at this point.
Just flexing on everyone because they're evil.
Yeah, basically.
They're gonna take over the world in style.
Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna take over the world, you gotta look good. They have the membership cards at Ben's Warehouse. Oh man, what about
I have a random question.
You go for it.
Should we be concerned about Bin Faria's drip?
Oh man.
No.
Okay.
He's the king of the drip though.
He's king. He's got fly. He's got style. You know, he's just.
He's like Ric Flair, you know. Ric Flair's he's not a bad guy.
Oh man.
It's just styling and profiling.
I'm just trying to think of like some other folks.
I'm thinking of someone from the Gamera films. Maybe Sam can help me out. There was these like space women that kidnapped the kids in one of the movies.
Sam's like, no, don't bring me
You
into.
want from Alabama?
Yeah. The
Oh,
one-
were they?
Yeah, in the dub they had like
Yeah.
one of the
Oh,
dubs they
God.
had an Alabama accent. So they were like, "We gotta kidnap these kids." I apologize if any of you are from Alabama.
Why don't you eat their brains?
Is that what they wanted? They wanted
Why
the.
don't you eat the kids' brains, yeah.
There's some crazy stuff going on in Alabama.
Man, so they wanted some protein or something, huh? Jeez.
What about the were the super monster chicks bad guys, or were they just they're heroes? I don't think I've seen super monster.
Now that I think about it more, I forgot what the alien species were from Godzilla, or no, Gamma versus Virus. Were they?
Ask Carl Craig, he's next door.
I think they're just called the Virans.
Are they
The
the
virus, because it's virus.
Yeah, it's. I didn't know what the species were called, but as they all converted to big Virus.
And I did say earlier that I thought Godzilla had a rogues gallery that was just as good as Batman's or Spider-Man's. Gamera too. Gamera's got probably a better rogues gallery because they're all straight people.
Yes.
I'm excited to see a lot of them return in that anime series coming up.
Oh man, I think tomorrow's panel is going to be pretty good with that.
Yeah, Beyond Godzilla.
Yes, that's going to be very heavy with that.
It's gonna be good. Cool. I will turn the floor over a little bit. Are you guys having a good time at the convention so far? I'm just asking everyone.
Well, we got 2 thumbs up. We have 3. Well, there's over a dozen here.
Were any of you here for the previous panel with Kitagawa?
Yeah. You guys enjoy that? That was pretty amazing, wasn't it? Exciting ending too.
That was a. I'm scared they're gonna come through that door.
Watch out, Lyngle, they're coming through!
I wasn't expecting there to be monsters coming from the other side.
When I saw that door open, I was kind of scared at first because I saw a head pop out. I was like, what's going on? And then I see Gamera coming out of the blue, and I was like, excuse me? And then I saw Shansu, which was the 2002 guy.
Kiryu
Yeah, Kiryu, and I was like, oh my. So we're about to have a kaiju battle here, aren't we?
You guys see Titanicus get stuck?
Yeah, I was so sad for the poor guy.
I was not expecting the...
Off the record, I think it's moments like these that make a convention. I really like sharing our favorite bad guys with people. I like sharing weird off-the-cuff experiences, like a parade of monsters coming through the door.
Yes.
That's what it's all about. How do you guys feel about this thing?
I agree with it. It's, it's experience that I would not expect, but as well as I would not disagree with having, because it makes the time a lot better, makes the community here more interactive as well.
Panels like these are like a dime a dozen, and there's like going to be more of these kind of panels that allows the audience to more actively participate in all, because it adds a layer of dimension and nuance, things like that, and allows for less scripting, just more just have fun and just go with the flow of things.
Yeah, exactly.
And then anagram surprises like monsters come for next door.
I mean, we can talk
Makes,
about
the
drip. Like, where else can you do that? I mean, I guess in your own hotel rooms, you'd be like, dude, you got some nice drip. But where can you talk about like Mr. Taco having some great drip? It's just non-existent.
It's great. Great times.
I think next year we should do a panel just about the drip.
I'm working, so for those of you that don't know me, I write for KaijuUnited.com, I run the website. I'm actually working on an article that's the best fashion in the Godzilla series. So like the leather jackets and Megalon, the turtlenecks and all the 70s Godzilla films, because you know, you can't have 70s without turtlenecks.
Gigan shirts, checkered shirt.
The checkered shirt from Gigan.
Oh. God, I love the fashion.
Like I said earlier, the orange suit and ties from the Cockroach guys at Gigan. What's that, David? Cool. Well, if any of you guys have any last favorite villains, we'll wrap this up in the next couple minutes. But I do want to say, coming up next at 2, we have Hirofumi Fukuzawa. And I imagine some of you guys are going to stick around for that, because that'll be exciting.
Yes.
And then at 3 o'clock, I'll be back here. You got to deal with me some more with Akira Ohashi. So if you guys want to have fun with that, that's coming up. But thank you guys for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
If some of you
Thanks,
guys that
guys.
are already here want to move to the front seats for some of the camera guys, I would do that right now. Thank you guys.